Hello everybody, welcome back to the Collector's Vault. My name is Mike. This is actually a video that's in response to the many requests people have given me on YouTube. People have been requesting advice on collection buying, just buying cards from people in general. They don't have to be full-out collections. They can be anything from simple, like loose cards. They can be graded cards, and they can even just be an entire binder. Doesn't matter. The point is you have to know what you're looking for. You have to know who to get in contact with, whether that person is shady, whether they're reliable, how do you get in contact with them, and then even when you're actually doing the buying process, what are those steps to take. So this is going to be a video that's going to show you guys like the steps of collection buying. You guys can either take this with a grain of salt, or you can actually just implement this into your own buying strategies, or maybe even just tweak it, or you can copy it directly. I really don't care. This is just a little bit of advice. So the simplest way is to break it down into several steps. And we'll just start from the very beginning with step number 1. And that is just locating a seller. The best way to do so is to check out one of the many platforms that are available for people to sell stuff. It doesn't have to be just cards, it can be anything. But you will see that there are people on there trying to sell their card collections. One of the biggest ones I've been using is actually the Facebook Marketplace. It is a great resource. You can see that there's many people on there trying to sell things. It's a good way to even check people. You can actually check their, as long as it's not blocked or anything. You can check their Facebook account, and you can see whether or not they actually look shady or not. You can tell whether they look like they're genuine. But obviously, don't judge a book by its cover. It'd be good to know if they maybe have maybe some mutual friends in common on Facebook, and then you can ask and say, hey, do you know this guy? Are they good? Or, how well do you know them? All that. Another platform would be something like Craigslist. I wouldn't recommend Craigslist. I'm not really the biggest fan of it. It's I think that's definitely a breeding ground for shady people, but it is technically still a good platform to find people. And I would say just if you do use Craigslist, just be mindful. And I'll go into detail about what I think about shady people on these platforms. Another one I've been using is Let Go. And it's just a really good place to even find people they're just trying to get rid of free stuff. You never know, you might see people who just have a free box of cards that they just don't want anymore. So always keep your eyes out for that. And now, step number 2. Location, location, location. And what I mean by that is after you make contact with this person, whether it be through Facebook Marketplace or Let Go or whatever, you have to obviously meet the person and take a look and see what they have. I wouldn't recommend just doing a simple like a drop off, or you meet the person, you immediately exchange the money and you just take whatever they have, because obviously you don't know what they're giving you at first. I would definitely make sure you sit down and take a look at what they have. So when that happens, I would never really recommend going to a person's house. If you do not know who this person is, you don't know what they have in mind for you. They could be a fiend. They could try to we've all heard the horror stories of people who meet up in dark alleyways or whatever, or at someone's house, and then God knows what happens. I've heard plenty of horror stories with Craigslist, and that's why I would personally not recommend Craigslist. I know a lot of people they meet in the middle of nowhere, or they meet at someone's house, and then that's when problems can happen. I personally would also never recommend having the person come over to your house, because then they'll know where you live. They might. Who knows? Maybe if they're in there, if this is someone that you don't know and they're in your house, you don't know what they're doing, you don't know what they're looking around for. So I would recommend maybe meeting somewhere else. And so, what I mean is, I recommend to not meet in an alleyway or not meet in a parking lot. I would recommend meeting in a public location, whether that be a restaurant, even a fast food place. Go meet at a Burger King or a Taco Bell. Just sit down at the table. There's probably going to be people around you, and so if they were to try to do anything bad, I just don't think it's in their best interest to try to do anything in front of a lot of people where they probably can't get away with it. Another good place I would recommend is maybe the food court of a mall. There's definitely a lot more people there. It's there might even be security around. It's just a better place to kind of it should make you feel more comfortable. And even better is that if they're not okay with that, then that they might be shady, or that they might not be, they might not be the best person if they are uncomfortable with meeting in a public location. Because obviously if they are going to try to do something bad to you, they would want to do it in in privacy. They want to do it in the middle of a public food court. So yeah, definitely meet up in a very safe location, guys. Okay, this is for your own safety. And now, step number 3. So you've made contact with a person, you're interested in what they have, maybe obviously you want to take a look at the stuff in person, and they've agreed to meet you in a public location. So far, so good. But now, let's say you come across this person, you sit down and they show you what they have, and immediately you can tell that's not wasn't what it was not that was in the picture. And this is why you have to take a look and see what they have, because you don't know. Maybe they're nice up until this point, and then they're still trying to like scam you or something. You got to make sure you know what you're buying. And then let's say that everything seems to be okay at first. Hey, look, like this is the binder or the box, or this is whatever item that they had on their post on the social media page or Let Go. It seems like it's the legit thing. Okay, cool. That doesn't mean you just give them the money and take it yet. You gotta make sure you go and look at it in detail. Make sure you have if you are sitting at a table at a restaurant or a food court, make sure you have some light shine down on you. I would personally lay out one of my little card mats. I know it may seem a little weird, but this is just tables are dirty. This is just a good way. You have a nice clean card safe surface, so that way the cards aren't gonna get damaged. They don't get any food or crap on them. They don't get any dirt. You just put them on your nice little, the material is kind of it's like the mouse pad material. That's kind of what it is. So it's really good and safe for cards to kind of slip and slide on them. It gives a nice clean surface to lay onto, especially when you're actually doing your appraisal. And so when you do your appraisal process, again, make sure you have some nice lighting. Take a look at everything you have. Take a look at the card. Make sure that there's no scratches that you didn't see before. Granted, there's a very good possibility that this person is trying to sell an old collection. So yeah, the cards aren't going to be pristine. But what I'm saying is just make sure you know exactly what you're buying, so that way you know whether you're buying a whole box full of bulk, or if you're buying specifically high-end stuff. Take a look at them, make sure they are in a certain condition, so that way you know what to offer that person for that condition. If you want, I personally also just try to be friendly with the person. Don't make it seem like you're doing a drug deal. Make it comfortable. Try to make them feel as comfortable the more comfortable you make them feel, then the more they can trust you, and that way, if you ever do come to the negotiation process, they'll probably take, they'll consider it. They won't just say, no, the price is finite and final, there's no negotiation, because that can be kind of frustrating to deal with. Also, when appraising the cards, you have to be honest with the seller, because again, they might not know what they have, or they do know what they have, and they possibly could be trying to scam you and sell you some junk or some beat up cards for near mint prices, or for high end prices or higher end prices. Don't let them do that. Don't let them try to take advantage of you. If anything, you have to show to them that you know what you're talking about. I know you might think that you'll scare them away, but the thing is, you just have to be honest with them, so that way they know that, if anything, if they're not sure what they have, and you can show, and you can be assertive and show them that you do know what you're talking about, they might learn something, and then they might even feel, okay, well, if this guy knows what I have, he knows what to offer for me. Just gotta make sure that you're in control of the whole process. And now, step 4. This is the negotiation process. So now that you've met the person, they seem nice, you're in a public location, you are appraising the items that they have, the cards, the figures, whatever it is. I just like to use cards as an example. Anyway, so now that everything seems to be good, the cards are definitely in the buyable condition. It's something that you want, or even if they are in a lower condition, you just know what to offer for them. Then all you gotta do is just simply get to the part where you say, okay, the price that you offered on your listing, whether it be on the social media or the Let Go app, whatever their listing was, let's say it was a fair price that they were offering for what they are actually giving you, then by all means, if you want, you can give them that price, shake their hand, and call it a day. Now, let's say they may have put up a really high, crazy number, or maybe an arbitrary number. Maybe I've seen people just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with a dollar symbol, just to say whatever. We'll talk about it when we do the whole exchange. There's even times where someone might even put something that's way below what the cards are worth after you appraise them, and then you know what they are. Unfortunately, I would recommend you try to be as honest with them as possible. Maybe you can try to be a little bit more fair and offer a little bit more than what they're offering. There have been times where I said, listen, I want to let you know what you have. it's worth so much. You're asking only so little, so let me kind of meet you more in the middle. And again, this is all about that trust. You want to make that person feel so comfortable with you that they might even leave a good review on the Facebook marketplace or the app. They'll, because they have, like, some of them have rating systems. It'd be good for you to develop a reputation among people, so that way they know, yes, that Mike is a good guy. But Gary, don't trust Gary. Gary has a low star rating. He's rude to the people that he meets with. He's obviously a shark and tries to scam you. Don't trust Gary. Gary's a bad guy, okay? But Mike's a good guy. Another thing is that when you come to the negotiation process, let's say that they are asking too much, and you want to get them down to a certain level. There's nothing wrong with that. We live in a society of capitalism. Negotiation can be, it's usually negotiation technically isn't really done with capitalism, because obviously you can't really negotiate with the person at the grocery store for the cereal that you want to buy. But I'm saying that when it comes to, like, bartering at flea markets or in this process, negotiation, bartering are perfectly acceptable, and it's kind of fun. So I would say definitely make sure that you know what. First of all, make sure that you know what you're buying. Make sure that you know what the card's worth. I mean, nowadays, unless you want to screw yourself, just, don't be ignorant. Make sure you do your own research, okay? When you are negotiating with the seller, just, do your best to get down to that point that you feel like you are paying a fair price. Maybe you're paying a little bit below fair, just to give yourself a little bit of an edge. Again, that's all part of the negotiating process. It's very possible that the seller will be okay with that. But one thing that you don't want to do, you don't want to get into a fight, because obviously there is a very good chance that the seller has a fixed number in their head, and even though it might be something ridiculous, if they are not willing to budge, just politely just say, okay, then I guess we can't come to an agreement, and just walk away. There's actually a really good chance that by doing that, I think it's kind of like a marketing technique, where if you do walk away, maybe they'll cave immediately. Say, all right, fine, I'll accept your offer. But there are some people out there who are very fixed on the number in their head, and even if it's a wrong number, even if they are ignorant and they don't know what they have, and they're just asking, like, asking $1 million for a piece of crap. The point is, if that is their mindset, it's not worth arguing. Just say, all right, then I guess we can't come to an agreement. Have a nice day. Thank you for your time, and walk away. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's better to do that than to get into an argument. It's just not worth it. It's not worth your safety, for one. God knows they might have a screw loose. It's also just not. It's just not worth your time. So, if you can negotiate, awesome. If you can't, well, there's plenty of other sellers out there. Then you just gotta move on with your life. And yeah, those are just 4 simple steps when it comes down to collection or card purchasing or any kind of collectible purchasing. It's a really simple process. It's just a matter of you not being ignorant, knowing exactly what you're looking for, knowing the price of what this thing goes for, so that way you're paying a fair price. And if you want to flip whatever it is, make sure that you're paying a price that if you give them a fair offer, then you can sell it for an amount that kind of makes it where, okay, you make some money and then the seller makes some money. So my personal advice is that when it comes to, like, giving an actual price, you can always tell the seller, like, look, this is maybe what the item is worth or what you think it's worth. Here is the amount that I know I could make from if I were to sell this. Therefore, I will offer you half of that. So that way, technically, let's just say for argument's sake, an item is worth $20. Well, I'm not going to offer you $20, okay? Because technically, that means I can sell it to make $20, but that means I have to offer you $10. So that way, you make $10, okay? And then I sell for $20, and then I make $10. So technically, we both make the same amount of money. But also, I also do try to explain to the seller that technically, I'm not making as much money as them at that point, because although you get $10, I sell it for $20, so I break even at $10. You have to also consider the fact that I am potentially losing money on eBay or whatever platform you use to sell it. I'm also losing money on shipping materials, and you're also just taking the risk of it potentially not selling. But usually that's a really good way for me to tell the seller that this is why I'm offering you this amount of money. It's not because I'm trying to rip you off. It's because obviously if I'm trying to buy this to sell for you, like, you may act as that middle person. Like, okay, you can't sell it. I have resources to sell it. I'll sell it for you in a way. That's not really what you're doing. What I'm saying is I'll buy it off you. I'll sell it because I know I have the capability of selling it. So I will only offer you this much because that's the amount of money that I can make as well. And in the end, you both technically make the same amount of money. And it's a really good way just to make that seller feel comfortable with the amount that you're offering. But yeah, guys, that's just my 4 little easy advice steps when it comes to collection buying. Again, I am by no means a professional. I'm just a guy living in an apartment, and I'm surrounded by slot machines, and I'm just trying to help out some of the people who are reaching out to me, who are asking about just advice on advice on collection buying, advice on appraisal, what to look for when it comes to certain collectibles. And obviously, if you guys like this kind of video, please let me know down below in the comments, and maybe I'll elaborate on this. Maybe I can go into even more detail on exactly what I do when I physically hold like an item in my hand and I go through my appraisal process. Because obviously, I can go into a lot more detail on that. Probably last a lot longer than like an ordinary 10-15 minute video. But if you guys want that, let me know. And yeah, thanks again for watching, guys. So I think that's it for now. Take it easy.